Hello and welcome to PPC Live The Podcast, formerly known as the PPC Chat Roundup. My name is Anu, the founder of PPC Live. And if you're used to hearing advice from PPC experts about how to ensure that we are keeping up with the ever-changing landscape, don't worry, you are still in the right place. But instead of relaying what the PPC experts are saying, I'm bringing the PPC experts to you. Every week, I speak to a different PPC expert about an effort that they've made, but also how they've turned things around, which is why the podcast is all about efforts that turned into triumphs. Today, I have the great pleasure of speaking to Adrienne Shaver, who I met in one of our fantastic communities. I think the PSA community, or might be the PPC chat community. She's in both. We're in both. And yeah, she's written for PPC Live before and also written some really great stuff about how as a freelancer to really manage your clients list properly and ensure that you're doing all the processes, putting all the processes in place to ensure for a good relationship. And this time she speaks about that kind of relationship and how she had to put a system in place to ensure that whenever she wrote a blog, she was writing about the right client in time. So yeah, she talks about an effort that she made about mistaking a client for one of its competitors. In a blog that she was writing, she talks about what that taught her, how the client experience was, and how she's still a confident paid search marketer, especially amongst her clients. So yeah, definitely a great one as freelancers and consultants in this field. So yeah, let's go talk to Adrienne. Hello, Adrienne. Welcome to PPC Live, the podcast.
Hi, Anu. Thanks for having me.
I'm so happy to have you on. I feel like you are definitely, as we spoke beforehand, you're definitely one of those voices that we need to hear more of. We need to hear more from, even like on the LinkedIn profile. Like, I feel like all of a sudden you popped up as someone, and one of your first posts, you were so kind to mention me that I saw of you and I was like, oh, and then I kind of did like a bit of like, and you just go down a rabbit hole of like, just start deep scrolling people's profile in a very creepy way. And I was like, oh my God, Adrienne has got so much fantastic things to share. And you've been on like other podcasts. So I'm really grateful that you're putting yourself more out there. And I'm sure our audience would love to hear from you. And for those who are thinking, like I was, earlier in this year, who is Adrienne? Adrienne helps B2B SaaS and B2B businesses grow through her search focused strategies, combining both SEO, PPC, and AI. She's a great lover of AI and efficiencies from AI. Whether it's managing ad campaigns across whether it's Google search or YouTube, AI formats, Microsoft ads, or even just advising about how automation helps to streamline workflows. She likes to focus on what drives real results, qualified leads, high conversions, and measurable growth. And I feel like you're very good at doing that, not just in terms of like PPC search results, but actually with clients, like actually growing your client base because you've been freelancing for a while now. And on that note, I'll unashamedly plug the fantastic resource that Adrienne actually shared on the PPC Live website that was really for freelancers or, consultants who are trying to manage a large book of clients and just to ensure that you're having good attention to detail and managing that well. And I think that touches a little bit upon what the story you're going to share with us is today. Fun fact, I always ask my guests, she says that she likes posting about food content to the point that she got so good that the Gordon Ramsay's team, of MasterChef even, checked her out, saw it, liked her stuff, and you got into the process for it. And how at what stage did they go? Oh, not anymore.
What's that?
At what stage? So like you got through how many stages?
Oh, yeah. So I got through all the way to signing contracts of
Wow.
like what the show was going to be like. So the process is a little bit intense. The producers meet with you. And like when they DM'd me on Instagram, I was like, yeah, right. Let me check you out. Are you really a producer on this show? I was like, no way. They like my stuff. And it's actually a good lesson that, on Instagram, the hashtags work because I kept tagging home cook, home chef.
Oh,
And
wow.
the producer shared that's how my profile popped up.
Yeah.
Helpful things that like intrigued me as a marketer.
Yeah.
But Anyway, yeah, they coach you through, the different, interviews that they do with you,
Yeah.
and I can't disclose too much because the contract does have an NDA, but, I don't wanna give anyone too much insight there, but, yeah, I got to the point where I put together a whole pitch video, they helped me do that, and it's then shown to Gordon, and he chooses, and you become either a backup or a contestant, and, yeah, they were like, it was just 1 week away from going to LA on this current season that just aired about the duos, so,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
I'll probably try again next year. It was a fun process to do, and I was like,
Nice.
"Maybe, I don't know."
Maybe. Maybe one day that could be in our future. We will look out. We'll look out for saying that we heard from you here on here first, and and we're cheering for you on MasterChef in the future. Who knows?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's get into what we want to talk about this week because time is of the essence. We want to make sure that you guys don't gear off. We also like, I know I didn't come here to hear about how to get on MasterChef. I want to hear about some PPC F ups. So we're gonna get to that, and because we've all experienced it. For the loyal listeners so far, thank you. You know that we talk about F ups, but not just that. We turn it up. We tell you how to turn it around, how it led to triumphs, how you're still how our experts are still valued members and valued members of the team, like the agencies you're in, or just the client's team. Because you learn the best, you learn what not to do in the future. Mistakes have been turned into tests. Like, oh, we're testing that. Now we know what not to do. So we're going to get another great lesson on how to have these conversations with our clients and how to continue to be the best in our team, in our industry, even with our mistakes. So Adrienne, over to you. What F up would you like to share with us today?
Well, I'll be sharing about, the mess ups that can come from chasing efficiency without the detail. So,
Mm,
paying attention to the detail, letting those, like, slip through the cracks and chasing that efficiency. And these early mistakes really helped me. As you said, I freelance, and so my clients appreciate the accountability, the transparency, the knowledge that I bring today because of it,
yeah. Yeah.
and I highlight with them, how I put in safeguards and things like that to prevent things from going off the rails, if you'll say.
Hmm.
So efficiency, I think a lot of people that I know who work in agencies, and I still work in agency, we get large client books and it's a lot to manage sometimes. Fortunately, that's not the case today. But when I first started out, that was about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So uh, I had an agency where I had a book of 80 plus clients and they ranged in services, but I that's a lot to manage. So I was
Yeah.
like, how, and this was pre ChatGPT. I won't say
Mhm.
pre AI because AI has been with us for a while, but
Yes.
pre what we know today. So it was all manual, and I started as an SEO strategist. And that's where I started my career for a B2B SaaS company.
Mm,
And so part of that job was really like sifting through client blogs and posting those to their website and making sure they sounded right, all of that kind of stuff. I didn't have to write it. We had writers for that. I just had to edit it and like make sure
mm,
it was good. It was unique to their business.
yeah.
And yeah, well, one slipped through the cracks and got posted under another doctor's name because we were in healthcare.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't catch it, and the client did,
Ah.
and called me out, and I was like, "That's it. I'm over. The world has ended." My stomach dropped so hard.
Mm,
In the early days, mistakes, you feel like you've done something massively wrong, right? It took me a while to, like, realize you're gonna mess up, but
yeah.
my manager was great about leading the call with the client, so I got
Great.
to observe how to do that, but I took full accountability and, like, here's what I'm doing to prevent that
Yes.
from happening next time. Here's some
Yeah.
guardrails, and but, you know, So that was like a kind of first time where I had to face a client
Mm, mm,
after a mistake. And
yeah,
oh my gosh, yeah, I was like, "You're probably gonna fire me, right?" And they were like, "No, no, this happens." I was like,
yeah.
"Okay."
Bless. So you're saying that you put the wrong client name in an ad copy, something that went live
Uh, on a blog.
on
So
a blog.
on
Okay.
there, yeah, so it referenced the wrong client in the content
Yeah, yeah,
because, we did outsource our writing, and again, pre-ChatGPT, they're
yeah.
paid by piece, right? So
Right.
sometimes they're chasing efficiency over
Yes,
detail, and
yes.
I was that last final eyes kinda check thing, and I did not get it in time, but, and I was like, "Okay, I'm never gonna make another mistake," and
Yeah,
no, I'm here to tell you, I still make them today, and I mean, not as big, and I know how to handle them better,
yeah,
but, like, with ad copy too, there's another example there as well, like, a lot of my early job when I moved into, like, the paid side with Google and Microsoft and YouTube, we had Meta as well, and so I had to write lots of copy for Meta and Google, and I thought, "Wow, wouldn't it be great to have a sheet that just had my like, the different client verticals and, like, quick
yeah,
filler copy," right? Because
yeah,
again, pre-ChatGPT, I was like, "Yes, this is a very good idea."
yeah.
Till, I had 2 accounts for they were, like, med spas, and so they were laser lipo and all of that, and I used the same lines. And
Okay,
the client didn't catch it this time, but
okay,
my manager caught it and she was like, "What is happening?" And because I
oh,
had to run all my ads by her before they posted,
okay,
right? And so
okay.
that was a guardrail in place,
Yes.
and she's like, "This is the same. I can't send this to the client for approval, right?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh gosh, yeah." So I created this doc and I went into what I did and she's like, "Yeah, we can't do that. It's too
Oh,
risky." Like, I was
yeah,
like, "Okay,
yeah.
noted."
Got it. Got it.
Scrap the filler doc. Don't do it. Yeah, and I rewrote everything, and from then on, I keep separate copy sheets for
Mm.
every client, plug in my 90s playlist, and go to work. Music helps me get inspired about what
Yeah,
to write. I'm like, "Hmm."
yeah, yeah. Whatever inspiration that you need for doing those kind of things, definitely work on that. And what would you say to like what you kind of didn't do, or you felt like you didn't do? So like what's your really your biggest takeaway that people should take is to make sure you do these certain things or make sure you don't miss these certain steps to ensure a mistake like that, to try to really avoid a mistake like that happening.
Yeah, so I think I would just let people know, just keep in mind, mistakes are always gonna happen. What do like, have forethought on the guardrails you're gonna put in, right?
Yeah.
So, um, we don't have outdated messaging, like, this is a common problem too, like, not updating messaging at frequent cadence even for search, and so I would say, for the areas of your job that really require a lot of detail,
Mm,
build out those guardrails and
yeah.
checks and balances. And also, because I am still in house, I always ask anyone who's willing to give second eyes. I'm like,
Yeah.
please, I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
Don't try to be perfect. Like,
Yeah.
progress is the goal. And, just know that you're gonna mess up and it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think there's any perfect people in any industry. Never gonna be a guru or an expert. I don't want to be.
You
Um,
never know. You never know.
no,
These things
no,
is
no.
just it takes time and consistency and a buildup of knowledge, isn't that?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
you have
we
to, yeah, that's the thing. You have to make the mistakes.
Yeah.
because that makes you a better PPCer,
Yeah.
right? So you
Yeah.
learn what to do, what not to do, which sources to trust, which not to trust, and then form that into your own POV and style of
Yeah.
management.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's like, yeah, that's a great message for everybody. Like the whole getting to the stage where you're a guru requires you to have done a lot of the work, make a lot of mistakes, realize what guardrails needs to be put in, redefining new guardrails, realizing that, oh, okay, I didn't put that guardrail in place. That's what I need to do next time. And that's what it takes. It's not just all those who are like, oh yeah, we hit 5 million in revenue and we're always increasing. And, CPA is the lowest it's ever been. And
Yeah.
yeah,
10xing ROI.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
we're,
yeah. And, I think because I also contract too, the clients that I have today really trust me because I'm very transparent about my processes. I
good.
take accountability into our relationship, both
Fantastic.
sides. Both sides
Yeah,
need it.
yeah,
And, they appreciate that if something's not going right, that I come
mm,
right away, and I said,
yeah,
"Here, something has gone wrong,
yeah,
our spend is crazy, but
yeah,
here's what I know about it and what I'm doing about it." That's
yeah,
what's appreciated too, so
yeah.
I'll also throw that in there.
I'm sure, which is really, really good to have. Um, Someone is going through the same issue that you just had. What's your advice to them? Like, and the client found the mistake. They're a bit, like crapping themselves at the moment a little bit. What's your advice to them as to what's the next step to take?
Yeah, well, go outside, take a breath.
Yeah,
Um, we feel a lot of pressure, and as we should, because we are money managers, ad managers,
yeah,
all of that, and it's very important, and I treat it like it's my own. But I would say, just immediately call it out.
yeah,
If you're a freelancer and the client notices it, then have a chat with the client and
mm,
say, "You know what? You are right.
mm-hmm,
Don't try to go in denying," and then if
mm-hmm.
you are an agency, whoever you have, in management, just be like, I need to own this. I did this, and here's how I know I cannot do that again." Like, think
Yeah,
about how you're not gonna do it again. What
yeah,
steps are you gonna take? So,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think that a lot of our experts say that take a breather, take ownership, take accountability. You've talked about that several times now. And yeah, yeah, guardrails. Guardrails are the important things. You know what? That's a great story. Thank you so much, Adrian, for putting that together. But yeah, we're going to, before we say goodbye to everybody, we're also going to point out, some of the errors that you feel like other advertisers make, and you've got a great vantage point. You've had worked with so many clients, um and I'd like us to talk a bit about people's perception of AI, especially clients from a people who are not even advertisers. What's your take on things that they really get wrong about AI?
I think it's the mindset that they apply to it, so expecting perfection without context.
Yeah.
So when they're testing it, like, I'll see a LinkedIn, I asked ChatGPT this, and it was totally wrong. Great, but did you tell it who it is, what you're doing, what the inputs are? Like, are there extra process docs that you needed to give it to it, and what you expect as the output? That's the basis of prompting, right?
Yeah.
And it might take a minute or whatever, but you'll get a better result.
Yeah.
So, like, to that point, I started playing with it before ChatGPT, really blew up, and there were no Google wasn't doing Gemini, nothing was happening, right? It was like
Mm,
2021. And my husband, of all people, he's a techie, he brought it to me, and I was like, "Okay." But I was treating it like a search engine, like a Q&A, you know,
Mm.
but it was like, I have no knowledge past blah, blah, blah. So I put it down for 6 months, but I didn't abandon it. So I think go in it with a mindset of this is a coworker, a assistant, just like you bring them up to speed, you need to bring it up to speed. Choose the
Mm.
right model, have the right mindset, be very transparent though with your clients that you are using it and
Yeah.
in what capacity. So building out those AI policies, I'm working on that right now for an agency, and that way we can make client facing. And I think you really need to approach AI in a different way of like not what can it solve today, but like put that policy in, speak with your teams, and then figure out where you want to have it and what tech stack you already have that has many of the features that you need. Google
Yeah.
Ads has dynamic keyword insertion, all that kind of stuff. AI Max is here.
It
But
is. It is.
yeah, so, I would just say be mindful of like its limitations. It's
Yeah.
not as advanced as people like to promote on
Mm.
LinkedIn.
Yes.
Feel a little like the gold rush times. Like everyone's like,
Yeah.
I'm made like I eliminated my whole team and like, oh well then you're not gonna do well. Uh,
Yeah.
it
No.
needs the human in the loop. It needs
Yeah.
us. Our foundational knowledge still matters. That's what I like to tell everybody. This matters. Don't
Yeah.
it doesn't. But don't give it to rookies in the industry. Make them learn their foundational knowledge first.
Yeah. 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 No, absolutely. And in general, what is also even like moving like away from like AI, you must have as well, even like in your 5 years or plus working in industry, seen best practices shift.
Mhm.
That's one thing that I spoke about with Dave Alexander in our previous episode, and it's like, yeah, people are working on best practices that were of 2022, and before we used to get maybe 3, 4 updates a year, or maybe 5, 6, and now it's like 3, 4 updates a month, and that's why companies like Search Engine Land need a whole paid media department because the way the news are coming out. You need someone dedicated to be on top of those. What do you feel like the 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 industry still deals with in kind of an old school way, and what like kind of mistake that they really do make in terms of like, how they approach bidding, for example?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. Yeah, it used to be a much slower pace to your point, and now it's just like boom, 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 boom. Every month we've got a million updates. I think that, as we're getting new best practices, it's important to remember that you want to take those as the first grain of salt and then add more grains of salt from other sources like I did in the beginning of my career. I followed Moz for SEO. Like,
Yeah.
I just started finding my sources, right? And then I
Yeah.
formed my opinion and took what
Mm-hmm.
I wanted because, I might not always follow a best practice, but what does the industry still do that's a little old school? I would say like my biggest thing that I'm still seeing in accounts in 2025 is manual CPC. And I
Yeah.
get it in certain cases, but also over application of like negatives and like not understanding they need their own strategy, just like your keywords. So a lot of times they'll just have no phrase match strategy with them. I think they're like, oh, well, best practice said, we just add all these negatives but I'm like, yes, but think of a
Yeah.
clean way to do it and that type of thing. So and reporting too. A lot of
Yeah.
people haven't even gotten past reporting on impressions, CTR. I have
Still?
seen it, Anu.
Oh.
So, like, fortunately, that's not the case today for me as a contractor in my agency. We do great reporting, and I'm even adding on to that now. But yeah, I would say reporting still has a long way to come. I'm seeing
Mm-hmm.
Excel formats with, yeah, and you can do it in that, but you want to go deeper. Deeper matters. We have insight deeper down the line. To me,
Mm-hmm.
those are just mechanical.
Mm-hmm.
like mechanisms to know if things are going right on my side.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Totally agree with you. So I've just got like a couple more questions before we wrap up this fantastic episode that you've made kindly so make time for. And one of the exit velocity questions that I like asking is like, in this industry, I'm sure you said you've followed some really great people, and you said it before, even though as we started recording, that you kind of curate the people you follow. And I just want us to speak on just the theme of this whole podcast about talking about F ups and how it turns into triumphs. And I don't know about you, I don't see enough people talking about how things have gone wrong. And then you kind of, yeah, especially the juniors might have that whole sense of like, because they think everything should go right. When they make their first mistake, they're scared shitless, and that shouldn't be the
Right.
way, right? So why is it important that we do talk about these kind of like mistakes that we've made early in our career?
Because no success comes without failures. It's
Mm,
as simple as that, but I was always scared to fail until I took a course that wasn't required in my marketing degree. It was called design thinking from Harvard's D School, and I was like, I'm in the wrong class, and then I realized I wasn't, and the biggest takeaway I got from that was fail. Fail often, but fail, when you make those failures, make sure like you learn from them and you
yeah,
highlight them. And actually, like one of my coworkers in a new agency that I'm with was really great about posting a very vulnerable moment in a client relationship. And it was great because,
yeah,
yeah, like then, okay, I don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have a full on panic attack like I did daily in my
yeah,
first year or two. So I would love to see more posts about that personally.
yeah,
I think that's what I want to do if I ever start writing and posting, but because it is very important. Like
yeah.
there you there's no way you had all unicorns. That's what I say.
No,
There's
yes,
just no way,
absolutely.
or you're not actually practicing as
Yeah,
Google Ads manager or
yeah.
Microsoft, whatever you're doing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. When you share that, that's some very good feedback for us. And so before you go, we've got one last very non-PPC, just a nice chill. How do you see your career so far? If your PPC career were a movie, what would the title be?
Oh my god.
My favorite question.
I know, and yeah, I'm like, "What?" I don't know, but I'm
You could
trying.
choose a movie that's already out there. You could make up a whole brand new title for yourself. People have done either one. It doesn't matter.
Okay, well, I'm trying to think of, like, a scary comedy that I know because that's how I feel about it, like, some days it's really funny, other days I'm, like, frightened like the Scream guy or something, but I don't know what I would title it, but that would be the genre of movie, like a scary
Okay.
comedy for sure, because, yeah, you're always yelling at the character, "Don't go down in the basement, don't
Yes,
do it," and
yes,
they're all
yes.
making these mistakes, and that's, kind of
Almost
what.
almost like Scream, like how they
Yes,
did
that's
like
what
the
I'm thinking,
parody
right?
of parody.
The funny versions too, like the Wayne brothers that did the, funny versions of them. I
Yes.
love those as well. So, yeah, I would say that would be the genre of movie and still is, so for me.
Or have you watched Rocky Horror Show? The
Yeah,
Rocky Horror. That is
it
such a random should be horror. It's quite comical and it's a musical.
oh, yeah. Oh, it could be a musical, right? Yes. Yeah, Rocky Horror, the team, the cast is like you have such a very team, usually in your agencies or who you work with, so it's kinda some of them might be
Okay.
some of those characters.
So we could call it possibly the Rocky Horror Show kind of thing. Just your character, just your career.
I I'll have to think on that more, and I'll message you a new name or something. We'll start writing the
No worries.
script, right? We'll use
There
ChatGPT,
we
right?
go.
It'll write us a
There we
script,
go.
that'll be amazing. It's good
Sure.
at being cheesy, right? So
Yes. Yes, so much,
That it
so
is
much
good
so.
for.
Bless. Well, thank you so much for being on the show with us, Adrienne. And where can people find you to hear more of the storytelling that we hope to hear a lot more from you?
Yeah, so I'm primarily on LinkedIn, and so you can find me there if you want. I invite, casual conversations, and
Mm,
if you ever want to grab a virtual coffee and have questions, hit me up there. But yeah, that's where you'll see me a lot of times.
amazing.
Yeah, and Slack PPC related.
Sure.
I wanna
Yeah.
give love to those, PPC
Sure.
chat and PSA, great safe spaces to ask your questions.
Amazing. And we'll share the links to all of those in our show notes or yeah, in the show notes for that one. So check that out. We'll share Adrian's LinkedIn profile. We'll share with you like the how to join the PPC chat Slack, how to join the PSA Slack. You've got the, like Google Ads Liaison there, Microsoft Ad Liaison there. People
Yep.
have been doing this for 10 plus years. People who count themselves as the veterans, but don't like really posting on LinkedIn. People not even count themselves are the veterans of our. I just don't
Yeah.
necessarily like they're using the word veteran unless they use it because it makes people sound a little bit
Yeah.
like quite old and ancient. They're not old and ancient. They're still very relevant to what we need to be doing today, but they've seen the industry evolve from what it first was and are
Mhm.
still succeeding in it now. So definitely the people that, yeah, you want to be asking questions for, and they're very gracious with their knowledge too as well. Adrienne has been today as well. So please, thank me for her. Do check her out on LinkedIn, follow her. She's been a great advice for us today. So yeah, thank you so much for being with us here today, Adrienne.
Alright, thank you.
Thanks. Thank you so much, Adrienne, for that fantastic sharing, more like it, of that story of that effort that you made. And yeah, guys, remember things are changing so much. Things are evolving so much. What is best practice a few years ago is not what's best practice today. And yeah, so beware about all these new updates that come out. Give it some time. When you test it once and it doesn't work, it's not a bad idea to come back to it later when it's more mature, when Google has done a lot more work on it actually to see whether it'll give you different results. So yeah, go boldly into those testings. And remember, for details about that fantastic episode, just go to podcast.ppc.live to get the full transcript and full show notes and all the links that we talked about and how to join those communities that we mentioned. And you'll find all those links there. Yeah, PPC Live is happening on October 22nd. The date is coming closer and closer. September is almost over, meaning it's almost there, the month for our last event of the year. So if you want to join that, you don't want to miss 3 fantastic talks, really getting insider knowledge on, very practical things that you can implement for your campaigns for Q4, for Q1 2026. You definitely don't want to miss this event. We are going to be talking about the future of PPC. We're going to be talking about tests that you should be implementing and successful tests that, one of our speakers has actually ran and implemented, and also just talking about how paid search is really key in the ecosystem of marketing. Those are really talks that you really want to be a part of. So yeah, go to ppc.live for your tickets. The early bird sale is still live, so make sure you don't miss out on that. And yeah, before I leave as well, I'm delighted to share that I do PPC mindset coaching. So if you go to themarketinganu.com and book some free discovery time with me so that we really delve into like what it is that your issue is, what obstacle that you want to, get over. Sometimes it can be ourselves. It can be our imposter syndrome. So I'm really excited to help you get over those things if you'd like someone to talk through about that with you and put you on more platforms that you'd like to be on. So yeah, just go to the Marketing Anu for more details for that or DM me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to hear on either platform. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed that episode and I look forward to bringing more PPC F-ups and triumphs next week. Thank you. Bye.